Hi, this is the last chapter of Hospitality Today, chapter 17, and this is with regards to ethics in hospitality management. So, if I have to ask you, what is ethics? A lot of people tell me it's got to do with right and wrong. You are very right, okay? It is a set of moral principles and values to answer the questions of right and wrong. So remember, we all were brought up differently. We all have different backgrounds. We all have a opinion on something, whether something is right or wrong. That is what ethics is. So it's also a study of general morals and of moral choices made by individuals and their relationship with others. So also what choices we made. Other people might think that choice is right or that choice is wrong. It's not to say that is right or what's wrong. It's with regards to our ethics, how we were brought up and what we decide is right or wrong. So, hotels and other businesses have a social responsibility. So, at any one time in any society, there is a set of generally accepted relationship obligations and duties between major institutions and people. So it's basically a promise that they make that they will not pollute the air or water and they won't damage the ozone layer. So if you remember, we spoke about hotels saying that they are going green. So it's basically a social responsibility that they have. They are recycling, they are saving water, they are actually saving energy. Okay, so it's a social responsibility and they have business ethic. So, as I mentioned, we all have values and we all arrive at our values differently. So, there is 6 ways in how we arrive at our values. So, please mark this very important. This can be a very popular long question. So, the first way that we arrive at our values is authority. Now, authority is always something or somebody higher than you, not higher with higher power, I want to say, than you. So, for example, the Bible or God, or, well, in my case, let's say you will only see something as right or wrong depending on what the Bible or what God says. Okay, somebody else could be mm, a person, somebody that they look up to. So they will only decide something is right or wrong depending on what that person says. Okay. So it's always a higher power than them. That's authority. They only arrive at the right or wrong depending on that authority. The next one is deductive logic. It's almost like it's, it makes it's logic. For example, if you believe chocolate makes you fat, if you eat a chocolate pudding, logic says to you that it's going to make you fat. Okay, it's deductive logic. The next one is a sense experience. So if you have your 5 senses, you will only believe something is right or wrong if you can trust or, focus on your senses, smell, see, hear, and those things. Then with regards to emotion, mm, emotion is very, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, but us women are very emotionally driven. Okay, we follow our heart, we follow on how something makes us feel. So you will only know something is right or wrong based on how it makes you feel. So then you arrive at your value on with regards to emotion. And then intuition, it's that uh, I want to say that sixth sense or your gut feeling. You will only arrive at your value or decide whether something is right or wrong based on your gut feeling or your intuition. And then science, you need to believe something is right or wrong if it needs to be scientifically proven. Okay, that's the only way you will believe something is right or wrong. So I'd like to play you a clip. For me, this is very, very interesting on how this guy is I think it's a pastor. He did a study on women's brains and men's brains. He's also a motivational speaker on how men's brains and women's brains work. And I actually linked this to emotion. It's quite entertaining. Have a look. And I'm sure you guys and girls will agree.
We're going to start discussing men's brains, women's brains, and how they're very different from each other. Now, I want to start with men's brains. All right? Now, men's brains are very unique. Men's brains are made up of little boxes. And we have a box for everything. We've got a box for the car. We've got a box for the money. We've got a box for the job. We've got a box for you. We've got a box for the kids. We've got a box for your mother somewhere in the basement. We got boxes everywhere. And the rule is, the boxes don't touch. When a man discusses a particular subject, we go to that particular box, we pull that box out, we open the box, we discuss only what is in that box. All right? And then we close the box and put it away, being very, very careful not to touch any other boxes. Now, women's brains are very, very different from men's brains. Women's brains are made up of a big ball of wire. And everything is connected to everything. The money's connected to the car's connected to your job, and your kids are connected to your mother, and everything's connected to everything. And it's like... It's like the internet superhighway, okay? And it's all driven by energy that we call emotion. It's one of the reasons why women tend to remember everything. Because if you take an event and you connect it to an emotion, it burns in your memory and you can remember it forever. The same thing happens for men. It just doesn't happen very often because, quite frankly, we don't care. Women tend to care about everything. And she just loves it. Okay? Now, men, we have a box in our brain that most women are not aware of. This particular box has nothing in it.
True.
In fact, we call it the nothing box. And of all the boxes a man has in his brain, the nothing box is our favorite box. If a man has a chance, he'll go to his nothing box every time. That's why a man can do something seemingly completely brain dead for hours on end. You know, like fishing. Now, they've actually measured this. The University of Pennsylvania a couple of years ago did a study and discovered that men have the ability to think about absolutely nothing and still breathe. You know, they connected all the wires and stuff like that and watched their brain activity, then all of a sudden, I think he's dead. Huh? You know, women can't do it. They can't do it. Their minds never stop. And they don't understand the nuts and bolts. And it drives them crazy. Because nothing drives a woman more crazy or makes her feel more irritated than to witness a man doing nothing.
So, how was your feeling about that clip, hey? As a woman myself, I have to agree that our brains are very, very busy. And most definitely men have a nothing box. Nee, don't you agree? Okay, so I normally ask this in a class, and it's a nice discussion. Is business like poker? And a lot of students say definitely. Why? The term that comes up to me, poker face, you know, is business like poker, and the term bluffing. So should everybody know what goes on behind those cards? Are you bluffing? Should they really know? You know, the whole thing with regards to poker, I'm not a gambler. I don't know much about poker, but I do know that sometimes you don't tell the honest truth, and you don't always, you know, say that what's behind your cards is in fact behind your cards. Okay, but I do agree that in business, you don't always have to play open. Okay, sometimes people don't always have to know what they don't need to know. Okay, but I do in real life and in relationships believe that honesty is always the best policy, because a lie always has a way of coming out, and it's not always in a good way. Then the next discussion is honesty always the best policy? I'm very sorry to say, yes, I do think so, because a lie always comes out, and it's always never in a good way. So it's always better to tell the truth. Some people might say, you know, you don't have to always tell the whole truth. But if you think about business, and that's where, you know, it's sometimes a bit difficult, is it always better to tell the truth in business? Remember, there's a lot of people involved in a business. So sometimes rather say nothing than saying half a truth. And the little white lie thing, I don't know. For me personally, I think it's always the best to tell the whole truth. I've never had a business myself, but I am working in a business. I would much rather hear the whole truth from the CEO than just half the truth or a lie. So make of it what you want. Right, then there's a couple of terms that you need to please know. The search for common moral ground. We only ask this as multiple choice or in section B. What is utilitarianism? It's basically a system of ethics based on the greatest good for the greatest number of people. It means that there's no universal ideas. What is deontology? It's a system of ethics. So basically it assumes that God exists and that there are universal ideals that should guide our thinking. And what is ethical relativism? That there are no universal ethical principles at all, and each issue considered in its situational or cultural context. So, you guys are first years, and you will go out in industry, and over your 3 years working in world, you will experience some things in the industry, also most likely across your life in the industry. And there's many ethical issues in the hospitality industry. These are just to name a few. I think there's more in your textbook. I just didn't have space in the PowerPoint to actually add them. And you can actually add more too. Because you work with people and you work with a diverse workforce and, you know, different nationalities and whatnot, there can be different ethical issues, and you need to remember as a manager, you need to deal with every situation differently because every person is different. But with regards to ethics, you need to decide whether it's right and wrong. There is laws, there's morals. You need to decide whether it is right or wrong. Okay, so whether it's relationships between customers and staff, with regards to honesty, handing out privacy about staff and employees, your staff were coming to work under the influence of drugs or alcohol, any kinds of these things. Okay, so there's a lot of ethical issues that you will deal with in the industry. But as a manager, you need to be able to deal with this. Okay, and then there's your environmental issues. I think we have exhausted this factor. Environmental issues. If you are saying that you are going green, ethically, if you are saying it, you have to do it. Okay, otherwise you are not ethical and you are breaking morals. All right, so save the planet if you want to, go green, but do it if you are saying you are. Discrimination. Unfortunately, we do live in the world still. There's still aspects in the world of discrimination. I'm not just referring to black and white. People are discriminating against gender, all of that. So just very, very important that if such a scenario ever come across your life or somebody's life that you know of, it has to be taken seriously. Okay, it has to be reported. Discrimination is not a lightly issue. People commit suicide, people's lives are destroyed because of discrimination, as long as it is taken seriously. Sexual harassment, the same. Okay, it happens to men as well as women. It happens to everybody. It happens if employers ask employees for dates. It's a no-go. Making sexual jokes or comments. If in any case you are feeling uncomfortable, it's a sexual harassment. It includes inappropriate touching, and I'm not talking about touching in inappropriate places. If you feel uncomfortable with somebody just touching your shoulder, it's sexual harassment. Or suggesting sexual promotion, that's completely inappropriate. Companies should take this very seriously, and there should be policies and procedures in place with this, and it should be very seriously dealt with. AIDS in the workplace, very, very sore discussion. Why I'm saying this is, what if you can't let somebody go because they have AIDS, unless they are posing a danger to everybody else. Okay. I always ask the question, do you have to disclose that you have AIDS? No. Unless you know that your work can be a hazard for other people. All right. Somebody with AIDS can go on and live a normal life. I'm not going to say healthy. You can live a normal life with this virus. And there is obviously, it's the person with AIDS' responsibility to make sure that they are careful, and that they are responsible. So it's their choice that they want to disclose. or not to the organization. All right, so you can have a look-see in the book. With regards to advertising campaigns, the truth in menu law, I'm sure you guys have talked about this in food and beverage service. If you go through a menu and there's pictures in the menu, let's say it's a beautiful hamburger with chips and whatnot, and that picture actually convinces you to order that hamburger. And the waiter brings you that hamburger and you're like, what is that? That's not what I ordered. That thing looks nothing like that burger in the picture. They are actually breaking the truth in menu law. Okay. The truth in menu law is there to ensure that there's no misrepresentation of a menu item, and it provides truth in advertising, and also they have a moral obligation to present what is being put in there. The same thing with if the menu says, if you buy a smoothie and it says that the smoothie is made with low-fat milk, that they actually use low-fat milk. Or if it's a sugar-free smoothie, that they use sugar-free. Okay, it actually happened with me before, where we went to a Wimpy, and the picture actually showed on there. There's like a whole bunch of French fries on that picture. And when my order came, there was literally like 7 chips on my plate. And I called the waitress and I said, please bring the menu. What I have here and what is on that menu is completely the opposite. And she brought me extra chips and I didn't pay for it because it's a truth in menu law. What you see is what you're supposed to get. Must there be a code of ethics? That's a question what managers should ask themselves before they make any decision based on, morals. Before they make a decision, like if they have to fire somebody or, anything like that. So there's 3 questions. They call it a litmus question. They first have to ask themselves before they make this decision. Is it legal? Are they breaking any laws? Because remember, they can get arrested, they can lose their license, business license. Okay, so it has to be legal. Secondly, is it balanced? This decision, if it involves people, is it a win-win outcome? Or is somebody going to lose? Is it a win-lose outcome? Okay, and then thirdly, how will it make me feel about myself? Will you be able to sleep tonight after you've made this decision? What will others think of you? What will your family think of you if they find out about this decision? Okay, so ask yourself as a manager about these. Ask yourself these questions before you actually make a decision. Whether this thing that you need to decide or choice that you have to make, if this was actually right or not. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed hospitality today. Please feel free to ask any questions. Good luck with your tests. Good luck with your exams. Yes, it was lovely having you. Take care. Toodaloo.